Greetings all, just a little follow-up on yesterday's post. We are a couple days away from the Awakening in 30 Steps on Instagram. And I just wanted to fill out a little bit more information in the lead up. So first and foremost, there are going to be some people that haven't been on the Contemplative Studies program ride. And so one of the things I just want to say is how beautiful the Lamrim is. Gradual path material or genre is a type of approach to teaching that comes out of India and Tibet, particularly through a master in the 10th century called Atisha, who really puts all the Buddha's teachings in a systematic order or sequence, a little bit like a asana sequence that really makes sense, so that you build on foundational knowledge and move deeper and deeper across a series of reflections and contemplations until they become internalized realizations, all on the path leading to enlightenment. So just being on a path, I think some of us who have been around the block or in the game for some time tend to forget just how unbelievably important it is to be on a path. I mean, we take it for granted. But think back, those of you that have been on the path for some time, what it was like not to be on any path at all. And just think that there are a lot of people that don't have a path, don't even know what it means to be on a path. And I mean, just liken it to analogies like trying to make it from New York to San Francisco with no GPS, no map, no orientation in life. I mean, the alternative to being on a path is aimless wandering. Aimless wandering. And it's not to say that once you discover there is a path, and immediately once you discover there's a path, there's a destination. It doesn't mean that troubles, obstacles, detours, challenges cease. What that means is they are what's called taken into the path, or taken as the path. Wow. So you can be on a path, not wandering, but with a direction for the first time in your life. And the challenges and obstacles that you face become part of the overall development of your mind, rather than just an endless series of inconsequential challenges, hoping blindly that one day you'll turn a corner and you'll find open water or green pasture. So that is even before we start. Those of us that have been on a path, just to remember how incredible it is, how incredibly fortunate we are to have tread a path that has already been tread by great, great masters, whom themselves have completed or reached the final fruition of the path. And we're no longer wandering aimlessly, but cultivated themselves and achieved awakening. So that's an incredible and fortunate and promising reflection, both for those that are on the path already to remember, and those looking, searching, and yearning for direction and meaning, purpose. Incredible. And the second little reflection I wanted to bring up is the one about the use of Instagram, because I'm having a lot of conversations with people. I think we're all very quietly, privately, behind closed doors, symptomatic of the deleterious effects on our brain of the algorithm. Kind of come in a sneaky form of feeling really, really inadequate and really, really anxious, fear of missing out, fear of not measuring up, fear of being not amounting to anything. You kind of look over this way, you look over that way, and what you see are people doing amazing things, but it's all curated in a little box. And the thing is no one's really talking about outside the box, what goes into curating that little moment. For many people, there's so much hidden angst and suffering and distress and competitiveness and ugliness and shadow, that I think it's worth a conversation to start to really get clear and transparent about the damaging or shadow side of our consumption and use of technology, what it's doing to our brain, how it hijacks our amygdala, how it essentially renders us feeling insignificant, inadequate, powerless, ashamed, frustrated, jealous, envious. All the stirrings of some of the most unpleasant aspects of our psyche amplified and gone haywire, all on a little device. And all done in private. So I think that's worth a conversation. Is it possible? Of course, I mean, I wouldn't be the first one to admit all of those things, and then also admit the thought came across my mind more than once, just dump the whole thing, get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Throw out social media. Get off the social media. Get rid of the phone. But I think also we recognize the incredible power and potential. So then it becomes our responsibility to use both the media and the technology wisely. And I'm not suggesting even for one moment that I know how that's going to be done, but what I do want to do is try some experiments. Run an experiment. Maybe you decrease or we decrease our consumption. That's probably wise and going to be beneficial. But also, what about posting from a pure motivation or good motivation? Check the motivation. And also check the state of mind after being involved in the media. What's your state of mind like? And ask yourself what can be done differently about how to engage in media more meaningfully, more constructively, more purely. Maybe you go into media and you offer something decent from a decent place. Maybe you get inspired by certain figures in your feed, or you start to curate your feed a little bit more meaningfully. And then you check your mind, and then you back out gracefully before you get hijacked. So that's a opportunity for us as we experiment in the next 30 posts, what it's like to engage in the media constructively, how long we spend there, what our motivation is, how we celebrate others, how do we cultivate good qualities rather than exercise our demons, strengthen our negative qualities or tendencies, how do we diminish those, how do we work with them. So I think that's there's both the content side, which are the Lam Rim reflections, which I'm really happy to share. I'll do those in the most constructive, bite-sized pieces I can. I just spent 2 years teaching the Contemplative Studies program, 2 years, and each session was 2.5 hours long, and now we're gonna do 30 little snippets. So it's up to me to contract the Lam Rim like an accordion and to make it suitable for this media. That's the content side, but the process side is a very interesting reflection for us to be more vulnerable, transparent, have a conversation about what it's like to be on the media, because the jury isn't out. This is all so new. We're all guinea pigs. I think probably I'm not alone. I'm going to assume each and every one of us has felt these pangs of disgust with ourselves and worthlessness and the whole roller coaster ride. And so what do we do about it? Are we going to be passive about it, or are we going to try to be experimental with it and see where we end up on the other side? So that's the little bit about the motivation and the opportunity. Today is Wednesday. I'll post probably a little bit, maybe one more post tomorrow in terms of preparation, and then we can start the experiment on Friday. Hope that you'll join, those of you that are strolling in, and and tagging people and your friends to join us. That's great, and thank you for your interest if you've already acknowledged that you'll be there. And I see this opportunity as to go to the hashtag Gradual Path and read your posts. I might hang out in Gradual Path and just read some posts, what people are doing with each of the steps. That might be worth my 10 or 15 minutes on social media, just to check what people are doing in this little experiment that we're going to run. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts. Hope to see you tomorrow, and then Friday we begin. All best wishes.